Library. We're here to talk about a few issues that you've been having, maybe concerning your relationship. Would you like to go into detail on what's been bothering you lately?
I've just been thinking a lot lately about my past relationship with my fiance. We broke up about a year and a half ago, but it's still to the point where he is kind of, every time that he's seeing me, he's being rude to me whenever I feel like I have no right to be treated in that way because it was supposedly a mutual breakup.
So I'm understanding that you all separated a year and a half ago, and that you all have maybe still been talking a bit, and it's not exactly being a friendly, positive relationship, that you are still having problems. You want to take me back into the actual relationship and some things that happened to guide us to where we are now?
Okay, so we got engaged like towards the end of the year of 2012. So we were planning our wedding for August 2013. Well, in March, I was getting everything ready, trying to plan ahead. Had already got my dress. Well, my birthday was the beginning of March. Well, on my birthday, I paid the last payment on my dress, and we were already having some issues, and we had probably decided to just go ahead and push the wedding back. Well, after I paid that last payment on my dress, 3 days later, we just went ahead and broke up.
So I'm hearing that you had been paying payments on a dress, and you were invested in this relationship, that you all were soon to be married, and then as soon as you actually paid your dress off, he ended it 3 days later. Kind of no warning given, just kind of happened out of nowhere.
Yeah, because we had agreed that I would go ahead and get the dress, and we would give it some time and just hold off the wedding until whenever we felt was necessary. And, if we couldn't work it out in a few months or something, then we'd just say, forget it, it's best that we're not together. Because we knew if we didn't do that, we'd end up getting a divorce like a couple months after we got married. So we were just trying to hold off, see what happened, but there was no time at all spent to just wait and see what happened. It was 3 days later, done.
So hearing that you never really even got a chance to work on the problems, it just kind of ended. And right after you had spent a significant amount on the wedding dress, and you had mentioned to me a few issues with possessions. Would you like to talk about some of those?
Yeah, we had both gotten each other, Christmas gifts and stuff like that the previous year. And, those were gifts. That's whenever I got my engagement ring, too, which, whatever. I'm not stingy. If he wanted it back, I'd give it back. But it was one of those things I was holding on to for a while to see if he would just kind of try to give in a little bit, because he realized that I wasn't really trying to push. Because to me, it's just possessions. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Because I spent about the same amount on him that year that he spent on me. Well, when we broke up, he was asking for everything back. My iPad, my engagement ring, every other little thing that he had gotten me. And I was just like, well, no. Because I just wanted to hold off a while, see what would happen. And then a few months later, I actually ended up giving back the ring, and he was like, well, where's the iPad? I want the iPad too. And I was like, well, fine, you can have it if it'll make this stop. I just want us to be able to be civil with each other if we see each other in public. Because up until this point, every time that he would see me in public, he wouldn't even speak to me then. He would send me a text message just cussing me till a fly wouldn't land on me. So I just wanted all that to stop, so I gave back the ring and the iPad.
So I'm understanding that you were trying to be civil and maybe still be friends with each other, because you all had developed a good relationship together, and that you all had bought gifts for each other, and you wasn't so much worried about getting the possessions back, but he was making a big deal out of pretty much wanting everything that he had got you back, and that kind of bothered you. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't anything about the possessions, really. With him, I believe it was more of, I'm the man and what I say goes, because it got that way towards the end of the relationship. It was probably one of the big reasons it didn't work out, because his friend talks to his wife, like, that is his possession. She is to do whatever he says, and I just flat out told him it's not going to be that way with me. Because we both have to do our own thing. Both of us work. You go to school too, I go to school. We both have to take care of ourselves. I'm not going to be able to just drop everything that I'm doing every single time that you say so for me to go do something if I already have something that I'm obligated to do.
Right, so you feel like he was trying to hold things over you and again be dominant in the relationship, and everything that he said went, and you really didn't have a say so in anything.
Yeah, and I'm a very independent person, so that didn't work too well for me. And it hadn't even come up in our relationship until like the last month of our relationship. He started acting that way, and then wondered why I was acting different, because I didn't want to put up with it, because that's not how it had been for the past year and a half, 2 years.
So I'm understanding that things really wasn't going as bad until around the last month of the relationship. He started being a little different towards you and a little more demanding and trying to run the show on you.
Yeah, which was, in my opinion, probably due to the fact that I'd asked for just a small amount of alone time with him, like once a week, 1 day a week, just sit on the couch and watch a movie or something, because every bit of the time that we did have together, we were with 10 other people, because he wanted his friends there too. And I got to the point where I was like, listen, this is not their relationship, this is our relationship. Yeah, we can spend time with our friends, that's all well and good. You can go somewhere one day with your friends, I can go somewhere one day with mine. And we'll still be together, but we just have to have our own time to do different things. And he either always wanted me there with his friends, or he didn't want me there all with his friends, but didn't want me really going anywhere with mine.
So I'm understanding that you were pretty much fully invested in this relationship, and you didn't really so much mind hanging out with the friends and him, but you also wanted time alone with him, and you was very rarely getting it, and that he always wanted his friends to accompany you all as well, and that you all really wasn't getting to work on you all as much because there was always someone else around.
Yeah, and in the beginning of the relationship, like, we had our alone time, but whenever it was like after we got engaged, it was like, well, she's mine already, so she's just going to have to deal with the way that things are going to be now. And it was like he didn't feel like he had to take any time out of his day or out of his week to just spend time with me to work out whatever, and he would never talk about the way that he was feeling about certain things, and then whenever he did, it would just turn into a big yelling match, because he'd hold so much stuff back, whenever I'm more one of those people that whenever something's wrong, I'll just tell you something's wrong, tell you why I think it's wrong, and get it worked out then to avoid an argument. But he'd rather argue than just get stuff out on the table then.
So you were kind of the type that wanted to express feelings, and if you had a problem with things, you wanted to work on them, and he would more hold everything in until it would just explode into an argument, and you would try to work it out before it would ever get to that matter. And my understanding is he wasn't like this at the beginning, that you all did get your time together and you would work on things, and then slowly it kept progressing towards to more people being around, and not as much alone time, and him holding even more things in without coming to talk to you about it to try to work it out, and eventually just led to more and more arguments.
Yeah, because he's not confrontational at all, and neither am I, but I would rather have a confrontation that is mild, that can be worked out, rather than a shout match where you're just in each other's faces yelling about whatever the problem is. Whenever he would start in, I wouldn't even know what was going on, because I had no idea that anything was wrong, because he hadn't told me, and I'd ask him, what's wrong, and he'd never tell me. And then whenever it finally hit that time, it was bad. It was on.
So you kind of felt like you had feelings that you kind of knew that things were wrong, but you couldn't get him to actually talk about it until it would go too far, and then shouting matches would begin, and arguments, but that